Welcome to the lighter side of the dark side. It's your weekly freak show here on Renagade Radio and also on every podcast catcher from iHeartRadio to Apple to Google to Audible to Amazon Music, everywhere you listen to podcasts. It's me, the Dark Mark. I'm the goth comedian, and as always, I call myself the Dark Mark like somebody else did. For some reason, nobody can get my name right, but I'm Dark Mark, singular, the goth comedian. And here's my co-host, everybody's favorite horror writer, Nicole Six.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, Nicole. How are you? How's your week been?
It's been good. I kind of been sitting around watching movies lately, I tried checking out the new Fear Street because I'm a huge R.L. Stine fan. Yeah. I didn't enjoy it that much. It's not very good.
Did you like the Goosebumps movie?
I didn't. Did you watch it?
No. The books are always going to be better, but I heard that the way they did it was kind of interesting, and that Jack Black was playing R.L. Stine.
It looked like a really cool setup. I wanted to like it, I just didn't.
And Fear Street is for the little kids that are too grown up for Goosebumps. They're too scary.
Yep.
Anyway, we got somebody who loves horror movies.
The problem is it was definitely geared toward a younger audience.
Well, we got somebody here who likes horror movies as well as sex, and more sex and being filmed for sex and having people watch her masturbate and all sorts of things. And she has she's actually a certified sexpert. We'll find out what that means. And has the best hair in adult movies.
Ooh.
Sara Star.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah. This is a long time coming. I haven't seen you since BBW Con, I think.
Yeah, or maybe, I think so.
Or maybe it was AVN afterwards, like AVN 2018.
There had to have been. I think we ran into each other at one of the AVNs.
We ran into each other a couple of them, but I think that was before I was banned. I don't know what happened. Like they stopped giving me, like they press passes for like 3 years. I don't know if it was banned, but I got press passes for 3 years.
Right.
And then I applied for a press pass like 1 year, like 2019. They're like, no.
That's so weird.
What are you gonna say, Nicole?
Nothing. I don't have an answer to that. That sucks.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? It's all right. I got some good videos over. But the weird thing is, and we're gonna talk about this, Sarah, my videos from the AVN, as far as hits on YouTube, do well.
Yeah.
But they just pale in comparison to the numbers of the BBW Con. Those are exponentially my biggest YouTube videos until one got taken off. But and that's the one that predominantly featured you.
Oh.
But that was like 500,000 hits. That was like my biggest video by far. So,
wow.
Yeah. So anyway, before we get started, we're going to talk about BBW, sex, all sorts of stuff. Gotta get our sponsors real quick, and I'm real thirsty, so let me get into this right now. Raze energy drink. This is the best energy drink. Forget the Red Bulls, forget all the stuff you get in the store. You can only find this exclusively at GNCs or gyms, or if you go to the description of the show on YouTube or on any podcast catcher, there will be a link to a page where you can get 15% off. That's what I did. I just got a case of Baja Lime, which tastes just like Baja Blast from Taco Bell, except even better because it has 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 crash. Let me delicious. And also, you were talking about Fear Street, Nicole. You're sponsored by Audible.
Yeah.
So forget the Fear Street movie. Go get an audiobook of one of the classic Fear Street stories, or any R.L. Stine, or any horror novel that you want on audibletrial.com/DMS. You get any book you want. Doesn't have to be a horror book. You can get whatever you want. And fiction, nonfiction, they've got everything from Shakespeare to smut. They have tons of BBW erotica, and you can get a free book, access to any of the Audible originals, including the new Sandman Neil Gaiman adaptation they did for audio, for free. Just go to audibletrial.com/DMS. Perfect for a road trip. So, Sarah, from what I understand, you have a dual residence here in I don't know if you're in LA or New Orleans. I don't know where you are right now.
I'm
I
in
mean,
New
you're all
Orleans
over the
right
world.
now. Yeah, it's crazy. Sorry. I'm in New Orleans right now, but yeah, I kind of bounce back and forth. So it's like, LA and then the other LA,
Yes.
the smaller LA.
I've lived in both.
To New Orleans.
Nicole?
I was asking what drew you to New Orleans.
I actually ended up in Louisiana. It's a crazy long story, but it was kind of family kind of thing. And it was like, oh, okay, so I'm here and went to college, got married, got divorced, and then just stayed. And then I slowly got into the industry and I'm like, well, it's kind of cheap to live out here and just travel. So
I can attest,
Smart.
it's definitely cheaper to live
Yeah.
in New Orleans than it is in LA. Exceedingly so, especially if you live in the 7th Ward like I did.
Right. Or like, in Metairie or something. It's like,
Oh, okay. You in Metairie?
yeah, out in
Okay.
Metairie.
That's a
Like
suburb.
if you live like in Kenna of Metairie,
No, that's
you know,
what people were
it's
telling me. They're like, you should live in Metairie because I was a bit in the hood, and
right. Like, yeah, if you live in the ward, you're like, oh well,
if you live in a ward, it's never good,
right.
Hospital
Like if
ward,
it's
psych
number
ward.
ward, you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, any ward.
Better than the 9th Ward, but it was still, ooh, yeah.
It's still right there.
Yeah, but Metairee's cool. I hung out Metairie a little bit, but well, I love the city. So you have to go out to LA for a few things, and so. Are you the only porn star in New Orleans, as far as you know?
There aren't many that I've met who live out here. I know there are people who do some stuff like camming and stuff, but I really never get to meet people out here who do stuff. So it's that weird, like, where are the people?
Right.
Where are the people like me?
The people. Well, I will say there are a lot of people that want sex down in New Orleans.
Yes,
people.
and that's always like a difficult thing to sort out, because they're like, hey, we love to have sex, and it's like, yeah, but my job and stuff makes it kind of different.
So, do you find dating difficult of being an adult?
Yeah, it's a different kind of animal here because Louisiana is a different animal. Like a lot of people don't. It's not like a blanket statement, but a lot of people are like, "What's an STI test? Like, why would I do that? I'm fine." It's like, what? You haven't ever done that?
You would think that people would. Yeah, you would think people would be would understand.
And you've got with all the COVID stuff, we're really low with the vaccine rates, and people have a lot of assumptions about a lot of things, and they're like, oh well, if you get an STI test, that clearly means that you think something's wrong with you and you're a dirty person. And it's like, no, that's not really how that works. But
so somebody has to be vaccinated and STD free. Even for you to even consider,
that's those are reasonable things.
I would
right.
say
See, I'm in LA. I mean, it seems reasonable to me, but I don't know. I've had women ask me for tests, and they weren't porn stars.
Yeah, where it's just like, hey, when's the last time you had this done? Or, if you've never done this, like, could you wear a condom? And they're like, oh, and then there are like 18 excuses about why condoms are problems. Like, oh, why would I wear that? They're uncomfortable and blah blah blah. It's like, oh geez, here we go.
Really, I'm going to tell you a secret, and also our tens of thousands of audience. I may have said this on the air before, but I've never had sex without a condom. Ever. People think I'm weird.
I usually always wear a condom. Like there's only one exception I can think of right now. And I spent the last year with the same partner, and even though we were together for a year, we used condoms like all the time. Like we never stopped. Part of that was because I wasn't on birth control, but even after I got on birth control, just felt safer. I mean, with everybody getting sick all the time because of COVID, not that condoms protect against COVID, but it's just like you're more heightened in your awareness of STDs and your infections already.
Well, would it be weird if it did? Like instead of everybody having to wear masks, they have to wear condoms all over.
They're
the place.
like,
That'd be
hey,
great.
condoms for everyone, and
Yeah,
like that's the real answer.
You go to a restaurant or a bar, they're like, you gotta show me your condom, please. And then, I mean, what do girls do? That's so weird. They gotta show their IUDs. I don't know what the.
Very weird. They go up inside.
No, I know. I've heard. Yeah, the female condoms. Yeah, and by the way, if you're having sex without a condom, they have real thin condoms. They're really nice. I like the thin ones.
And they have like all these alternative materials. They have the like poly material that's not latex, because there are people who have latex allergies, and that's a reasonable concern.
Yeah, I was a Trojan Ends guy for a long time, and then I don't know, for some reason I tried to. Trojan makes these like real thin ones. I tried those. I'm like, wow, those are great. And then my ex-girlfriend like got these even thinner ones from Japan.
Oh.
And oh my, I gotta find out where she got those. Those are great.
Japan is very state of the art in many things.
So thin.
Yeah. It's like anyway, they get it.
Ahead of the curve there.
Yes. So anyway, we're already talking sex, but because you're a certified sexpert, Sarah.
Yes, that's something that I did. I got certified in February of last year. So it was like right as the pandemic was becoming a thing. So it was kind of like an unusual timing where I was just like, this is a thing I'm going to do for 2020.
Was it, because we have a guest and a friend, Ann Hodder Ship, who does a sex education. Was it her? Or was it who certified you?
Oh gosh.
Yes, everyone deserves
sex Ava Cabal. It's the Loveology Master Sexpert.
Okay.
So Loveology University. It's an online class, a set of classes, lots of coursework. And it was one of those things like I was already familiar with a lot of the information because I looked at going to Indiana.
So you're a porn star.
Well, that too. It's like that, you amass information.
You fought for a living.
Yeah. And I looked at going to a proper like brick and mortar university and going into like sex therapy or that type of thing. And I'm like, well, that's $100,000. I don't exactly want to finance.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I was like, let's do this and see what happens with it. And I was like, wow, I kind of chose like the best and worst time to do this because there's a pandemic and now I can't really do anything with this.
So, but what did you learn that you didn't know before?
That was the tricky thing. Like there wasn't a terrible lot that I felt like I came away with that I'm like, whoa, I've been enlightened. And part of their thing is they do a lot of continuing education. So it's mostly about kind of staying aware of like newer things. So
right.
It's like, with COVID, it's like, how do you prevent the spread while still being sexual? And, there's all this stuff with gender studies, which is unrelated to COVID, but, gender dynamics, and that's continually evolving. So that's
back in my day, they had two genders.
Well, so that's,
remember that?
So understanding gender fluidity and,
right.
Helping people feel comfortable and confident no matter their gender, so they're
I'm kidding. I'm all for that. I'm just saying I always like to make myself feel old and be like, back in my day there were two genders, male and female, that was it. Now there's like 29 at least.
It's an interesting, it's like, wow, things have changed.
Yes.
I gave up and I just let people be whatever they declare themselves to be. You want to be
macaroni?
Macaroni.
I'm like, you need to tell me though, so I know how.
Exactly. Like, I can't memorize all that shit, but I will give you the respect and independence you deserve.
Because that's the irony. Sarah saw my dick and she still asked me what it was. That's the weird thing about it. But I cleared it up in the end. But so Sarah, how did you get into the adult industry? You were a webcam girl for a while.
Yeah, I did webcamming first. So I did that a lot. And I was like, cool, webcamming, this is fun. It's something I can do, whenever I have time. And, you know, all that stuff. So it was a cool thing that I was doing. And then it was like, oh, do you want to go shoot for a studio? I was like, yeah, why not? That'll be fun too. You know, I was like, I like to have sex with people.
Now, were you always like hypersexual?
Yeah, like that was always, so it was that weird balance of like figuring out, you know, like, hey, how can I like enjoy myself but still be like safe, like optimally safe? It was like, wow, this is a great avenue for that. Like everyone's safe, you know, or as safe as,
Yeah.
you know.
That's one thing about the porn industry. You guys get tested more than anyone.
We are tested so much. Like if you're actively like performing like all the time, you have to get tested at least every 14 days.
Mhm.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a very like you're getting tested all the time.
That
I
first
have a
test-
weird question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Noah.
when I go through the rare dry patch, which is usually by choice because I'm just like tired of dealing with men or something, I have really heightened sexual dreams. Given that you have sex so often, do you still have sexual dreams, or is it like
Yeah.
your subconscious is already burned out?
I do because like this, so I always try to explain like porn sex is so different from real sex.
Mhm.
Because porn sex, like you've got people videoing you, you're so thinking about what's happening because you have to remember it's like, oh, wait, where's the camera? But also not looking at the camera because you don't want to be like staring it down.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that when they look at the cameras.
Like
That's the
I'm
worst.
tracking the camera, you know, like you don't want to do that, but you have to be aware of where it is because there are some shots where like the camera's in your face. You're like, oh wait, I am supposed to look at it now. You're like, oh yeah, hey, you know.
They're like,
So like,
oh,
yeah, where it's like, hey,
oh,
exactly, or it's like, oh,
I hate that.
So, but it's like, but porno sex like kind of like takes you out of that like sexy element where you're like in the moment because you're so concerned about everything going on around you because you're like, wait, oh my god, is my leg like blocking the pussy? You know, like you have to think about all those things, like can the camera see everything? Does my face look dumb? You know, like you're
have
just
a DP
thinking
going through your vagina.
I mean, yeah, but that's the whole like you gotta make sure like the camera can see everything, and so you're like, oh wait, my leg's in the way. I gotta like turn it funny, and then you're like, oh my
Right.
god, I'm gonna get a leg cramp. Yeah,
So, like, you're worried about the camera seeing both dicks?
yeah.
Because that would, yeah, that would suck if a dick was blocked.
See, all these things. So like porno sex really kind of takes you out of the game mentally, but then you know when you have real sex, it's like, oh, I'm not, you know, like I'm in the moment. I'm enjoying myself. Hopefully,
Right.
you know. Hopefully, you know, I'm having fun. Like this is recreation. This is a good time. Generally, you're with someone you really enjoy, you know.
Yeah.
So in that case, when you know doing that a lot, it can kind of tamper down the hypersexual dreams. But if it's like all work sex, then yeah, like my mind is still like just going. And especially because a lot of like the porno sex I have isn't necessarily like what I'm really really into, so I'll still have dreams about like all the other like stuff.
I have really weird sex dreams, but they're really good. Are yours normal, or would you think they're let it go a little freakish?
A little weird where it's like, oh, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
See, now everybody wants to know what you two are talking about in detail. Describe a freaky dream for both of you.
My last one, I dreamed about this girl using a shoe to get me off, like a high-heeled shoe. Not the pointy part, the toe part. Like
Oh,
she
the
knew what she
toe.
was doing with
Okay.
that.
That's
And
interesting.
I never really thought about that in my waking time, but it was an all right dream.
Did you get off?
Well, I wake up before I get off usually.
Yeah.
Like, did you really get turned on by that?
I don't think I do it in real life, but in the dream I was pretty turned on.
All right. So Sarah, can you top that?
I mean, that's a unique one. I always go back to like having sex, like dreams about like having sex on planes. Cause you know, flying back and forth a lot, it's like, oh, it sucks. Like there's never any room on a plane, and I always fly by myself. And,
Oh, the Mile High Club. You're not a member?
right. No, it sucks. Like, never gotten to do that. And so it's like this kind of constant dream where it's like, that thing like, oh, I should have been able to do this by now, but with the way air travel is these days, not gonna happen.
Yeah, COVID took away your Mile High Club dreams.
Oh man.
Because I don't think they're gonna watch it if two people go in the bathroom.
I don't know.
That's
Do you
true,
know
they
how
probably-
small that is?
Trust me, I know. I've been up there.
Yeah, they're so small.
Especially Spirit Airlines, I would stay away from that altogether. But
Oh my god, so tiny. Like I've never.
well, they'll charge you also. They'll charge you another $75 for that.
Like I've never tried to pee in the plane on a Spirit flight. I have on like Southwest. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna
Southwest
go
is
pee.
fine. Delta, they got
And
nice.
I'm like, I'm gonna
I
go
mean,
pee.
it's small, but they're
It's
they're
small.
manageable.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like two people big enough though.
Well, Nicole was the perfect segue. I kind of blew, but you would do a lot of foot stuff.
I've done some, yeah.
Do
Not
people
like a
love your
ton,
feet?
but yeah. Yeah, they like, they don't hate them.
I'm not really into
your
feet,
What's
but
about
the
your feet that are
shooting was
special?
cool.
I guess because I have really high arches. So like it's kind of nice for that whole like foot fucking thing because they're really high. So it kind of works.
I've never fucked feet. I gotta get into that. Yeah. Nicole, you were gonna say something.
I was just gonna say I'm technically grossed out by bare feet, but with the heels on, they're very sexy. I think, like
Right.
not on guys. On guys, I like to see like Converse or Italian loafers.
Right.
But a woman in high heels is pretty hot.
Yeah, guys. Guys don't pedicure as often as the ladies do. But
It's true. Women on average have nicer feet than men.
I would. Yeah, I don't know. They all look the same to me. I don't know. I guess. I mean,
Male feet look totally different than female feet.
Yeah. Men feet
I
are
guess
way
Wilma Flintstone's
different.
feet were better than Fred's, but other than that, I don't know really. The 5 toes and arch in the heel, they're all kind of the same. I think, except Sarah's got beautiful arches. We're perfect for fucking. Apparently,
I have nice feet. And then my friend, I won't say who, I look at their feet all the time and I'm like, you do not have nice feet. You need to hide those, but they don't.
Yeah.
They probably wear them.
yeah. There's a lot of people that need to hide their feet. That's for sure. But apparently, though, you got to. If you're in the industry, you got to indulge that. There's so many guys at the feet.
It's a thing, yeah. Like some people are way into it where they're like, look, I'll totally do this, but the feet have to be part of it. And it's like, okay.
Like what?
That's whatever. Like they're just like, I'm totally down to like shoot the sex scene, but you gotta let me suck on your toes. And it's like,
Oh, like other porn star guys?
yeah. And it's just like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
like, okay. It's like that could be so much worse. I mean, I think the only bad time I had as far as like foot stuff was I was shooting a scene and everything's fine. Like the sex is fine. It's whatever. My leg was in the air and he was like kind of kissing my feet. I was like, this is fine. But then he bit my foot really, really hard.
Why? Why would you bite a foot?
It's so hard where I was almost like, I almost like reacted and smacked him because
You didn't
it
kick him in
hurt.
the head?
I
Maybe
was like,
hungry. I don't know.
I don't know. And it was the strangest thing because he bit me very hard.
Did you draw blood?
Well, no, not that bad. But after there was like a little bruise, and I was like,
Ew.
I'm all like holding it together in the scene because I'm like, look, we're gonna make it through. We're gonna get this done. And then after, like, we're all done, everything's over. The guy left, and I told the person shooting it, I was like, he bit me on the foot really hard, like really hard. And I don't know whatever happened to that guy. Like I've never really seen his name pop up again.
Oh, good.
I
The
haven't
foot
know. I'm
fighter
like,
is gone from the industry.
The foot
well,
biter.
but apparently, it's one of those things where I'm like, geez, I hope it wasn't like over this whole like biting me on the foot thing. I just think someone needed to tell him like, hey, maybe don't bite people that hard. On
Yeah,
the
it's not. Nibbling's fine. No big chomping. Yeah.
Right, or at
Leave
least like
people
mention like, hey, I like to bite a little bit. And that way the person can be like, no, or like, don't bite my feet.
Right.
They're sensitive, like they're, whatever.
I don't like being bit either. I had a partner that was incredibly rough with my nipples, and I kind
Oh.
of sort of like gritted and bared through it because, like, you know, whatever. I'm kind of a service submissive. Like I let you do what it takes for you to get to that point of
Right.
the more aroused you get, the more aroused I get.
Yeah.
It hurts. Like I got bit on the nipple, and it was not fun.
Mm.
Well, first off, I don't know if anybody's manhandling Sarah's nipples because you have the nipple ring, so it'd be
Right. And like
Do
still
you like
like
pain then? Like if someone plays with them?
I like some, but like some people will still like try to like pull on them and stuff, and it's like, oh, you know, there's a piece of metal going through there. Like that's kind of the. It's why that's there. Like slow down. Like that's the. They just need to be licked at this point. They don't need
Yeah.
anything extra.
Oh, yanking. You don't have to.
Right. Like they're not designed to be like pulled off.
Right.
Yeah, I've definitely had mine pulled on.
Yeah.
It hurts. Like I don't understand how I don't know if they think that that's pleasurable or if they just want to do it. I mean, I can't imagine.
Right.
I think both from the male
like,
perspective, because we don't know anything. So, you know, it probably did to somebody. They're like, ooh, you know. So.
But and some people, everyone likes different things, and I guess that's a lot where like the communication comes in, where you know
Right.
it's like kind of that checking in, like, hey, do you like this? And it's like, no, I'm not loving that. Can you just like lick them, or you know?
Well, I don't know what you like in your private life, Sarah, but doing a cursory look over your website, your films, and your Twitter, and you know the cursory research that I did every night this week, a couple times, but just very thorough research. You seem to be more of a dom than a sub.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
at least your character is.
I am not good at the submissive stuff.
Let's go.
Like that's not my
You like to take a
strong
man and
point.
you like to take a man and just mold him in your image and just break him down.
Exactly.
Nice.
And there you go. See, that shine the light on you. Yeah, I because the one thing that you did that I just recently found out that this is like a thing because I'm not into it.
Yeah.
You did the giantess video.
Yeah. It's it's one of those, like, I get requests for it every now and then, and yeah, people are kind of into that. And
Are you familiar with this, Nicole?
It's the thing
giantess
where
fetish?
you I heard about this recently. I don't know if it's the same thing, but basically you pretend to be a giantess and they pretend to be tiny men, right? Yeah.
And it's all shot from like really low angles, so you look even taller than you already might be. So like in my case, I'm 5'8", 5'9", and it's like just exaggerating the height.
And then you tell the man how small and insignificant he is.
Yeah.
Just so tiny, and
What is hot about that? I don't get it.
Last week I was listening to.
I think it's partly to go back to that whole, it's a dominance thing, and like being so small that they can be crushed, because crushing and smothering is also a fetish. So there's kind of that adjacent.
Yeah, I experienced that firsthand on the show, and oof.
Oh, we had
I had a dominatrix sit on my face, and for quite a while.
Wow.
So I had to tap out.
Oh yeah, you're like,
We'll
no,
have to have
I'm
her back
good.
on now that we got a studio, but we'll have to do that again. But or maybe you could do it next time you're in LA. We can go in studio.
That could be a thing.
Sit on my face. But now I understand the whole dominatrix and spanking and torture and like role play and bondage and that. I don't understand. I'm a 20-foot giantess and you're a half a 6-inch guy. I don't get it.
It's and I don't know if it goes all the way back to like people maybe reading like Gulliver's Travels and somehow like finding something sexual about that. There's definitely like some kind of Sigmund Freud in there somewhere.
Yeah, I read a porn, like, how they do like spoof parody porns.
Yeah.
I read a porn about Jack and the Beanstalk, only it was a giantess that he found up there.
See? I mean,
Have you done any parodies, Sarah?
not really. I did a little bit like dressing up as like Velma from Scooby Doo,
No, I
but
saw
I mean,
that.
yeah, like
I definitely
with
researched
little
that
things
thoroughly.
like that. I recently got all the pieces to do Pam from Archer, but I need someone to
Oh,
help
okay.
me like fix the wig because I couldn't get like just a proper wig already done. So I have a long wig that I need someone to help me like fix.
Well, you have the best hair in porn. When did you start dyeing your hair?
Oh, I can't just like dye it blonde. Like
Wait,
that level of blonde.
no. When did you first dye your hair?
Oh, when did I start? Oh, geez, I've been dyeing my hair. I mean, the crazy colors.
Yeah, the crazy colors.
Um,
Yeah, this is
I
like
did
she's
it
got
like
kind of a cotton candy sort of thing right now.
yeah. I mean, now it's got like purples and blues and pinks, and it's got a whole thing going. And God, I've been doing the crazy colors for probably like 8 years or so.
And I'm sure you get requests for the carpets to match drapes and.
Yeah, some people have asked. That's like really hard to do.
I'm sure.
That no idea.
Yeah,
No idea.
I don't dye my pubes either, Nicole. Just so you know. Well, here's another thing. When we're talking about the giantess fetish, you also, I don't know if guys pay you to tell them how small their dick is.
Yeah. Even on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw this dude on Twitter,
Yeah.
and you're like, look at this guy's small dick, and it was pretty small, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I'd keep that to myself if I had a
That's a
dick that
whole,
small.
because in some cases they like I have videos so they can like buy the video and just watch it forever. Other people want like the Skype kind of thing where it's, that live talking about, and other people are like, oh my God, can you do it on Twitter? You have so many followers. I'm like, okay. But okay.
The ultimate exposure.
Right. And I'm like, other people might chime in. Like, you have to be prepared for this to be like other people chiming in.
Like the last small dick guy, was he pleased with all the feedback he got about
Yeah.
what
He
dick
was really excited. And then, he was like, oh my God, do you know what the Twitter analytics look like on it? And I tried to look and like, there weren't any. I don't know why Twitter isn't giving me any
Because
data.
his dick was so small, that's why it didn't register.
Right. I'm like, sorry. It didn't recognize you.
So as a certified sexpert, what is the turn on by saying I have the smallest dick in the world, show it to everybody?
I don't, that's like a whole deep psychology thing that some people are like way into humiliation, and that's their thing. Because I've had people ask to be humiliated for things that I'm like, like they'll show you and you're like, no, that's normal, like you're fine, in your head you're saying that like you're totally normal, you're fine, but in their head, like their dysmorphia says that there's something wrong with them.
Well, and porn's part of the thing with that.
Yeah.
Like, I know I had an ex-girlfriend assure me that my penis size was fine. So I've had that discussion. Like, I know I'm not big like these porn stars. She's like, no, you're good.
Yeah.
But it's nobody really knows. I mean, you would just the only dicks we see are in porn, or once in a while, we'll Harvey Keitel will be naked in a movie or something, but we don't know. We don't, we have memories of our dad when we were little kids, and obviously we were little kids then. So weird, and it's so. And the thing is, everybody likes something a little different. It's like, do you like him huge, or you like him a little smaller, or you don't like the little micro phallus that guy had, but
right.
like good 6-7 inches, or what are you into?
Right, like that, average to above, but not,
or you like the 10, 12.
That's the thing, like you see these guys in the industry, and there's some people I'm like, famous, super famous, terrifying.
Right. I don't want it too big.
Terrifying.
I don't want it like small, but I don't want it too big.
Exactly.
All right.
It's that Goldilocks thing. It's
also, when it comes to penises, sometimes they're thick, like they're thicker than you have room for, and then it feels like really it's a combination of painful and good. Like I'm not sure how I feel about that. I've dated two thick guys, and I've just been like, it feels like you're being torn into, and it's an interesting feeling.
Right. It's like, oh, I wasn't.
So you like thick, Sara, too, or?
There again, there's that limit because, you know, like things only accommodate,
Right.
and some people aren't patient.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, you have such large, luscious curves. You're, what was it? It's 50, 36, 50, something like that?
Like 39, I think.
39,
So
okay.
yeah. But yeah, something.
Well, it's an
in that.
hourglass.
Yeah.
Because I showed your
Something
picture to
kinda-
Nicole that you were coming on, and she's like, "Wow," because your cleavage is hard to ignore.
Yeah, it's hard to miss.
And this is, I'm assuming this was always the case, even when you were like in junior high, high school. You just,
Yeah, it's always been a mess.
I wouldn't describe it as a mess. I would describe it just right.
It was difficult, like trying to play sports and stuff. So
Oh
was,
yeah,
yeah,
I
it
don't
was
think
that
they
like
make sports
awkward
bras in
mess.
the 50s.
Yeah, it was always tough.
What sports did you play?
So I played rec rugby, but also played basketball, and I threw some for track. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so the basketball wasn't the only thing bouncing.
Yeah, it was like, you know, 2 sports bras and.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, but that's when I'm trying to think if I met you at the Avian or I met you at BBW. I think I met you at BBW. Then I saw you at the Avian afterwards, and we were talking before the show. Tell Nicole about the BBW con, because that's still my #1 YouTube video. I mean, I'm sure you've been to other BBW conventions.
Not really, because that was kind of like the one that was happening, and then, you know, it kind of stopped happening for whatever. I don't know all of what happened with that, but and
well, I do know the pool parties after hours must have been something.
And I never went. I ended up never making it to those, so I have no idea. I heard stories though. I did hear stories. But yeah, and then, you know, you hear about little things here and there. Like I know like Vegas still has a lot of stuff that, you know, they have like get-togethers and things like that. But it's like, oh, you put it out like 3 weeks before. It's kind of hard to like grab a flight, and you know, it's like, oh, that's short notice.
Yeah. So I mean, but I mean, that definitely is a category of porn that men are into. We had Alexis Allura on last year, who I met at BBW Con, and she said that a lot of guys that are married to skinny women on the down low are really want big, beautiful women.
Yeah, I do think that's a thing where it's a weird, I don't want to say it's like this rule where they're like, oh no, I can't, you know, but it's definitely like a society thing. Like, oh no, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
You know, so.
You can do the thing that impresses your friends, but secretly you want something else.
Right.
I always think they must think their women are accessories, like a purse or something, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely that where it's like, oh, this is, you know, someone who's gonna fit in with my friends' wives or girlfriends, or, you know, versus like, oh, I really like this person, but is so out of the norm of, you know, all of my people's people kind of thing. So
yeah, I mean, you should go for whatever gets your dick hard. I mean, you know,
right?
If that's what you're into, indulge, do what you're into. I think. But it was an interesting clientele, and there were women of all shapes and sizes. There were a couple that were SBBW, I suppose.
Right. Like the super plump girls.
Now, are you designated super or no?
No.
Okay.
I'm like kind of in that like in between, and it's funny now, like seeing, you know, with kind of that whole like body positivity movement. Now you'll have girls who have been called BBWs, but are now being called like mid-sized, because they're on the smaller end of, say, like the plus size clothing scale. So a lot of people are starting to call them mid-sized because they're like not quite fully plus sized. And yeah, it's a weird, like, it's like we're positive, we love everyone, but here are all the rules and
New size.
scales. Yeah.
Speaking of women as accessories, mid-size, it sounds like a Toyota Corolla.
Right. It's like, wait, so that's a mid-size car. I'm like a, crossover or whatever, like a small SUV.
Well, put a pin on that because we actually have one more sponsor that I didn't talk about at the beginning of the show, and I don't want to ignore them, especially since next week we've got Chami Chong from Cheech and Chong coming up.
What?
Yeah, and in a couple weeks we've got Opium Moon. So sounds like a good time for Nicole to tell everybody about Renagade CBD and Renagade Kush.
Well, I had some Renagade CBD chocolate before today's show, which is why I'm so active and animated. I really enjoy the chocolate. It tastes a great deal like actual Hershey's milk chocolate. They use a real confectionist. She makes all the candies by hand, and they're fucking delicious. So if you're into edibles, Renagade CBD, it's amazing. I highly recommend it.
Right. And by the time you're watching this, the website should be up. It's coming up in the next month. That I'm still trying to figure this out with Charlie, but go to renegadecbd.com, renegadekush.com. If that doesn't work for you, go to renegaderadio.com. Not only will you find out about the CBD and the Kush, but you will also get to check out Nicole's stories about parties in Hollywood,
where I use CBD products.
Yes, she does. So yeah, you're in good company, Sarah. We've got quite a month coming up this month, and we're glad to have you on it. So, we're talking about BBW. So, who would you say is a typical fan of Sara Star? Do you have a typical fan?
Not really. Like, it's
a lot of black guys, a lot of skinny guys.
So many different types of people. Like, it's crazy because there's no, I don't have like a catalog of, because a lot of people, like, I never see them, so I don't know. It's like I may just see like an avatar where I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, it's really hard to say. Like, obviously people are into tattoos and alternative looking.
You have
people.
The alternative look. You got tattoos, you got the rings and all that. And yeah, you're kind of a rebel, kind of a. I guess you do kind of come up as a goth girl on some of the sites.
Yeah. Because sometimes I'll kind of do the whole kind of look, and other times I'm just like, well, I put on some lingerie and some lip gloss. Like, I kept it simple. Other times I go all in, or I'm like, look, I got the whole vibe going today.
Well, you live in New Orleans, so you must have some goth in you. You must have.
Oh, there's always a little bit.
Yeah, you must have. You must not have quite outgrown your goth phase like I.
Oh no! I'm an elder emo.
Oh wait, so you think you describe yourself as an emo?
Yeah, little goth, little elder emo, a senior, if you will.
Have you taken the vampire tour?
I have not.
Oh, you gotta go.
I know, like, for as long as I've lived out here, I've never done the vampire tour. And it's funny because I've never gone to the Museum of Death in New Orleans, but I went to the one in LA.
Okay.
Right.
Like, I totally did. I was like, wait, I went to the one in LA, but I haven't done the one here. Like, why did I do that?
Well, here's the thing. Let me ask you, because I lived in New Orleans for a while. I never found the goth scene really. There were goths around, but I never found like a scene or a club.
No,
I never found the fetish scene either.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's not like there was like a spot. And now they're kind of trying to make spots. Like, there's now like this vampire bar that's opening.
Ooh.
Right. And it looks really cool. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eventually like goth it up and go dredge myself over there.
So what was your first tattoo, Sarah, since you're talking about that?
Oh, my first tattoo?
Yeah.
Was actually puppy paws on my ankle for a dog that had passed. Yeah, I went very like, let me do this first, because it was partly like, how bad is this gonna hurt? And it's a little memoriam, and still have it, never gonna cover it up. I'm like, You know, it's not like the greatest tattoo ever, but it is what it is.
So you must have some lapsed Catholics too, because you do a lot of nun scenes, I noticed.
I am not Catholic at all.
But your fans must be.
I think, okay, yeah, I think that's kind of the thing. And, you know, when you think about like religion and obviously living in Louisiana, it's a very Catholic community. So it's just like, oh, this is easy to poke fun at because even though I'm not Catholic, I'm around so many Catholics that you kind of like, it's almost like you're Catholic adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to like do a video and be like, I'm Baptist, you know, or whatever. You know, it's like, I'm a Protestant and I'm here to make you feel like sinning.
Right.
Like it doesn't have the same thing as
Right.
you know, you're wearing the habit. And
Now, was that your idea or was that a fan?
that was actually, oh, I think it was a fan's idea. Where it's like, oh, you'd look really cool as like a dirty nun kind of thing. Like, okay, I could play with that. You know, like I could get into do that. So, because it's kind of also that idea of like playing with stereotypes. Like I've done the cheerleader thing. There's nothing about me that is a cheerleader. I've never been a cheerleader. I played sports. Like I'm not.
Right. You're not peppy.
No.
Well, you could do it. You could pretend.
Exactly, and that's kind of the fun of it. Where
You
it's
need
like,
some big pom poms to you know. You can't go with the small size. You gotta. I mean, you gotta,
right, the little bitty, the ones that come with the outfit, where you're like, this is like 3 pieces of shred.
So, what's the weirdest request that you got from a fan?
Oh, geez, that's a hard one. I've gotten a lot of requests that I could
You
never
won't say.
do, where I'm
Right.
just like, no, thanks, thanks for suggesting, but no. Because people ask for really like things that it's like, no, like legally, I can't put this on the internet. Like we're not allowed to put poop videos on the internet.
That's
Yeah,
gross.
yeah, just like poop. So yeah, like that's
A
just
lot
like
of peeing and pooping they want, and
so much. Like
but you've done
let me-
splashing, right?
let me keep something for myself.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done splashing.
No,
Like splashing
yeah.
is a lot of fun. I did not know that I was going to be into that as much as I was. It was
Yeah.
so fun. It was super fun. It was a lot of
And-
fun.
I was gonna say Mark knows that I once broke up with a guy because he asked me to shit on his chest.
See, yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Cleveland
want to go back
Steamer,
there, but okay, we're gonna talk about shit. All right.
hard pass on the Cleveland Steamer. No.
You're not,
Mm-mm.
and you're not into that privately, right?
No.
No.
That's the thing. Like they're just
Shocked, though.
something.
Like I'm still shocked people are into it. You know, it's such a weird fetish. Very unhygienic.
And that's like I'm not again like I don't want to kink shame anyone because I know that out there is someone who is just waiting
Waiting to take a dump on your
drop
chest.
that deuce like you know, but I'm not that girl. It's not for me. There's some things that I need to keep for myself in my own privacy, like the fact that so I shoot, you know, this is like going deep into things like I shoot some anal, not a ton, but you know, every once in a while shoot a little anal. And part of that process is you gotta clean the system a little bit. There's a little clean out that happens.
Yes.
And that's not a great day. That's not beautiful. And you know, being in LA filming for a company doing that means that I'm not at my home doing that. I'm at a friend's place doing that. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I've got to go prep for this scene in your bathroom. And my
Oh.
friend's like, it's fine. Unfortunately, you know, he had his girlfriend, they both work in the industry, they're totally cool about it. They're like, it's fine, we totally get it. Go ahead, everything's great. I'm like, no, it's not great.
So
Doing
you
this.
do the enema and the whole thing, and
Oh,
Yeah.
there's yeah. So and I mean it was fine, but it was just in my head that whole like no, because
Fine, yeah.
there's only a door separating us.
Oh,
are
man.
you into anal privately?
You know, like it's one of those that if I get like super, super, super turned on, a little bit where it's like, oh, you've got me like so turned on, I could get down with that. But if it's just like, hey, it's Wednesday, can I put it in your butt? Like, you kind of gotta like really like
Hump day.
right. But you know, if you just like walk in the door, you're like, hey, can I stick in your ass in about 10 minutes? Be like, could you like really
Just
get me turned on?
Don't fall for the I'm not gonna put anything but the head up in there. That's it.
Right. Oh no, the old just the tip.
Just
That's a lie.
let it in a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't hate it or anything. It's just not, I don't get released from it. So I don't want to do it.
Or like if I'm having sex and everything's great and maybe there's like a little bit of a thumb put in, you know, like more just like pressing on the outside, like that's fine. Like you don't have to put the whole thumb in, like, you know, just like press on the outside a little bit, like that's cool, like that's all right. But I'm not like, hey, let's do butt stuff all the time.
To quote Andrew Dice Clay, you don't jam it in a girl's ass. You tickle it. You work your way around it. So anyway, it's shocking and appalling that I know that. Anyway, now I asked this to every BBW porn star that I interview, and I interview a lot because I interviewed some people. I was going to say at the BBW con, some of the smaller BBWs, and I said, "You're not really a BBW," and they were embarrassed.
They're mid-size.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess now, but they were like, "No, we're fat. We're BBWs. Trust us." I'm like, you're not that. She's bigger than you, and you know, it's just a weird thing. Now, is there a lot of jealousy in the BBW scene? Is there a lot of infighting? Is there a lot of drama?
Oh my gosh. I mean, okay, so we're at the end of July. It's so funny you ask this now. We're at the end of July. So September is coming. And you're like, why is September relevant? Because that's when award season's nominations start, which means in November, maybe late October, they will release the nominees for things. And that's when everyone's going to get really ugly.
Ooh. What have you been nominated for?
I've been nominated for BBW Performer, you know, stuff like that. It's cool. Like, I'm always excited to be nominated, but I'm never like, if I don't win, I'm gonna talk shit about people. You know, like, I don't take it like so seriously that I get mad or jealous about what other people are doing. I'm like, hey, we're all like just trying to make some money and hopefully have fun. And some people take this like it's life or death. Like,
wow.
Like super serious. And there's
I don't
a
get
lot
nominated.
Right. Like, I didn't get nominated. You know, fuck these hoes. You know, they don't even they'll list off girls that are like, they don't even have sex on their videos. They just do boob stuff or, you know, whatever. And I'm like, oh, geez. So there's always a thing, you know, like and I'm like, I don't make the rules. Like, I'm not.
Right. Because you're all kind of in one category.
Right. Everyone's lumped in together.
Right.
So, you know, and that's the other thing is you get people like, well, she's not a BBW, she's too thin, or you know, or oh, she's way too big, she doesn't deserve, there should be a different category for the supersized BBWs. Like, there's always a reason why someone either should have been nominated or should not have been, or this person should have won or this person should not have won. There's always something. And I'm sure it's like that in the like mainstream side of porno too, with some stuff. Like, people have their own shit.
Sure.
But on the BBW side, like, Twitter's gonna get really hot in November, hotter than Thanksgiving dinner.
I can't wait. I'm gonna set that hashtag BBW and watch the sparks live.
I mean, it might not be too bad, but it just like every year there's always something.
Well, this is a weird year because of the COVID, but
and like last year was straight, you know, it was like there wasn't even a live show, everything was digital, and there's still no word how it will be for 2022 AVNs, like how that's going to look at. So who
What
knows?
did you do? What did you do during pandemic? You did OnlyFans and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I kept shooting my own content, OnlyFans. I picked up a job doing quality control for one of the companies. So I literally watch porno, lots and lots of porno, and tell them what's wrong before the videos go out. So I just look for editing errors and
Right.
glitches and stuff like that. So I help with the editing team.
Like make sure you light both dicks on the DP and all that.
See, all of that, or it's just like, oh, the audio and video don't match. So like you slapped her ass, but then the sound of the slap was like 2 seconds later. Just,
see that? Yeah, you can't have that.
So I mean, so it's so much stuff that you don't realize is like part of that process, because
That's like karate movie shit.
Right. And it's sometimes it's just errors that happen, but you don't see it because you get the final product and you're like, oh, this looks amazing. And
I didn't know they had quality control. That's great.
Some companies do. I don't think they all do, but yes, some do. So I do that for one of the companies, and it's fun. I mean,
right.
People are like, wow, do you get tired of watching people bang all day? And I'm like, once
you're hypersexual.
I'm like, I'm not all.
There and you'll be like, look, she's got the dick suck gag. We have to redub that because it didn't quite. Yeah, it doesn't quite.
But it's funny because, like, they're like, how are you not just turned on all the time? And I'm like, look, I'm more interested in like finding the guy's reflection in the glass and being like, oop, I see someone in the glass. Like for me, it's that hunt of like finding mistakes and being like, oh, this is so hot.
Or you get the girl looking in the camera too much. Oh, this is great. Oh. Anyway, get her to stop looking in the camera. Well, you must wear out guys like in your private life like crazy.
I don't even.
A mere mortal man cannot keep up with you.
A girl can dream.
You must leave men, quivering in your wake.
Just
I'm sure a bunch of guys are like, yeah, I'll fuck you all night. I'll wear you out, and then like in the mornings you just like a wet noodle and you kick them out the door.
And be like, thanks for playing. Better luck next time.
Now, a couple questions before we go. This hour just flew by. We definitely want to have you again. Next time you're in LA, let us know. We'll figure out a studio and we'll put you in with somebody crazy, and we'll have you smother me and do all sorts of stuff.
That'd be great. That would be super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know when you're in LA. We'll definitely do it. Or we'll get you and another BBW, and you guys could fight over a nomination. But
you can come up with a fake award, and we can like wrestle over it.
That's right. The Dark Mark BBW of the year. Now, when you go to your videos, and you see like you referred to as plumper or other not so nice names, does that bother you, or you don't care? You're just getting paid?
Not really, because there's so many names people use, and I'm like, look, I can't be the fat girl named Police. Because some people, there are people who are like, oh, we don't want to be called BBW anymore. We want to be called plus sized because it is part of that whole body positivity. Plus sized.
Oh, plus size. Okay.
Yeah, and and I'm like, look, if people just want to call me fat, like that's cool, plumper, whatever. Like, I'm very aware that I have a lot of adipose tissue. I'm a big girl. It is what it is. And it's cool. Like, it's part of me. And
but you're big in all the right places.
It's it could be worse.
Yeah.
I have like an arm coming out of my shoulder.
The hourglass. God, I hate them. It took me a while to say that. The hourglass figure used to be the standard of beauty. Now it's the rectangle.
And COVID made me a little more rectangular. A lot of staying at home, but it's not so bad.
Have you done scenes since COVID? Are you
Yeah,
back?
no, I have. I've been filming. I shot I've shot a little bit. I've shot some for Jeff's models. So all of that
Right.
is kind of coming out. I don't know when a DVD comes out or whatever, but I know the scenes are coming out. So yeah, like
I saw Jeff's model scene with you. Jeff's like a gray hair guy with the like a soul patch.
so that's Jay. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's for Jeff's models. Yeah. So
Alright.
yeah, I've been like shooting stuff with that and doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm like back filming now that it's that weird where it was like I kind of hit that spot of like, okay, cool, like I can start working again because COVID's not as scary and I'm vaccinated and stuff is happening. And now it's like, oh no, the Delta variant, COVID's getting scary again. I'm like,
Right.
what are we
We're gonna
doing?
shut
Can we
down
not?
I know.
But you should check out the scene's wonderful. I watched it a number of times. But the best thing about the scene is the actual screen grab before you see the scene is like you in front of the guy, and he's like he's got his mouth wide open. It's so great. And then yeah, so and the last question, and then we'll get you to plug everything that you want to plug. And once again, next time you're in LA, let us know. We'll get the studio. We'll get you in with an interesting guest, and we'll all have a good time. What are you into? What is your favorite fetish?
Oh gosh, that is always so
What really
hard
turns
because
you on?
right,
Privately.
like ugh, it's so hard because I'm into so many different things. So I'm always like, what can we do now? But honestly, like I really like giving blowjobs. Like that's just kind of a thing where I'm like, oh, I feel like a little bit of a succubus. I like to suck the dick. Like I enjoy it.
It's a good answer.
No, but it's true though. Like you could
No,
try
I
like
to
feel
that?
like likewise.
yeah,
I am giving head.
like
You like
you
that better
could
than receiving? But some people do.
I
in
will.
a way, yeah. Like if I have an opportunity to kind of like, okay, we're gonna rock paper scissors it. Like I'm really gonna try to win because I want to suck the dick. Like I'll try to like beat you to the point where I can be like, no, I'm sucking your dick. I mean,
Same.
I like receiving; it's fun, but I'm like, but I want to suck your dick because I want to make you feel good. And it makes me feel good, and it's exciting, and it's like
Interesting
it's fun.
sidebar here. Our former guest and you're really catching up fast, but my personal favorite porn star, Ella Darling, as said on the show, she does not like 69 because she can't.
It's distracting.
You see, she's saying the same thing you are, that you can't concentrate and give the best blowjob you can. But to me, that's what's great about 69 is that you guys go back and forth. Like
Right.
I get her so hot that she has to stop and oh, and the same thing on the other end. She gets me so hot that I have to stop and
because like some like I've been with some
you go back
partners
and
who are
forth. That's
like
what's great about it.
not that good at oral, so it's like I can do
Oral is
69 with
hard.
them because you're
I mean,
just
not
like,
that there is definitely a talent to giving a good blowjob, but it's so much harder to get eaten out. Like when it's just more difficult. There's more nerves down there. There's more
yeah.
folds. There's more liquids. Like it's just a complicated thing, the female vagina. So it's easier
But
to
it's
give
so
a
worth it.
blowjob than to get oral from a guy.
It's so worth it though. You gotta,
So yeah.
But I mean, but every woman's different. Some women, I mean, you know, I've been complimented many a time, but there are some women that prefer the fingers, that prefer the dick, that you know, every woman's different, you know. So, you know, there's some women, you know, I'll put the tongue on the clit for 2 seconds, they're going crazy, and some women I'm down there for 2 hours, and I got to finally figure out the key to the lock. You got to figure it out. So anyway, so you like blowjobs. What's another fetish that you're into?
I do, with kind of in line with like domination and stuff, I do like spanking people a lot, like flogging and spanking and all of those things. Sometimes it's hard to find takers, because it's like a thing where it's like, hey, spank you.
So you'll just spank a guy's ass till it's red and then suck him off?
It could be a good time. I mean, why not?
Well, sounds good to me.
spank a girl, whatever. You know, everyone's
Yeah,
good for
sure.
a spanking.
I didn't mean to be so binary. I spank whoever you want. Girls, guys,
Like everybody deserves a good
transgender, I don't care.
spanking.
Whatever, non-binary, whatever you want.
It's just like in Monty
Asexual,
Python.
whatever.
It's like spanking.
Everybody wants to get spanked.
Naughty, naughty zoot.
Yes.
Now, do you do the flat hand or you do like a kind of?
Sometimes I'll spank with a hand, but I usually like to use like paddles and flogs, and I like implements.
Nice. Well, we will talk about that next time, definitely. Maybe we'll get you in with a dominatrix. We'll figure it out. But anyway, you've been a delight. I've had such a fun time.
Yay.
Sarah, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and how they can get custom videos and everything that you do, or have you tell them how small their dick is, whatever, whatever they want to do.
The easiest way to find me is allmylinks.com/Sara Star, because that has everything, my Twitter and all those things. Obviously Twitter is Sara Star XXX, and that will always lead you to all of the things.
Is there a non-XXX Sara Star?
Not really. Like I'm
good.
All filth all the time.
Now, was that all my links or on my links?
All.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, allmylinks.com.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good. We should
like
get
a link tree, but it's not. It's all a different thing.
It's like,
I got a link tree, but you have all my links.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I have a link tree, but I've just never like put everything on it. So I probably need to finish that. I'm just like, because I found all my links first. So that's kind of what I.
Well, you're Sara Star XXX on Instagram and Twitter, right? Okay.
Instagram is XOXO Sara Star, because they don't like the XXX on Instagram.
And like you say, you do custom videos. You'll evaluate dicks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the stuff.
You'll dress up as a nun. You'll dress up as Bum from Scooby Doo. Whatever somebody wants.
Pretty much.
Yes, and if you like, if you're into busty women like I am, it gets rarely bustier.
It's so busty.
Yeah. And from one busty woman to another, Nicole, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, I'm at Nicole6Books on Instagram. I'm Nicole H6 on Facebook, and I'm at renagaderadio.com, where you can read me under News on the Street.
Yes, and probably getting a link tree very soon, or in all my life.
I think I should do that. Yeah, I think that's very smart.
And I'm Goth Comedian on all social media, and I have a link tree, and you can see that on all my social media. And I've had a great time. This has been terrific.
Yay.
Thank you, Sarah. And
of course.
Everybody tune in next month. We got some great guests, starting with Tommy Chong. Everybody have a wonderfully creepy week. Bye.